now. In fact, it'll be the bell that is rung as we come back into St-Omer, this beautiful city that has been so brutalized by wars over the years. World wars seems to be almost a crucible of that kind of activity, both from the Napoleonic Wars, incidentally, and right the way through the First and Second. Right now, we've got a different form of combat, far more entertaining, thank heaven. And right now, we're wondering what Arnaud Démare will do. He hasn't bothered with a wingman. There he is, number 5 at the back. The news on Brian Coquard is that he's absolutely nowhere. He's been caught out by a split, and as he's leaving the team, questions as to whether he will go to the Tour de France, I think, are possibly being answered as we speak. Tommy Vogler is certainly up here. He'll have his last hurrah for the team. The men with the golden O's upon their breasts. But there you can also see Nasser Bouhanni, number 45. In fact, we're picking him out right now. He's got an aero helmet on, so he's got a cover, and just rattling and bumping and bruising with Florian Saint-Charles as we speak right now. Big pickup onto the cobbles, and Francis Tiger. They've bullied everyone in this race, and right now they are winding in our breakaway. I'm afraid of they've done it for the sponsors, but that's just about it. And all credit to Julien Bernard in the red and black here of Trek Segafredo, who's done it on his own.
Yeah, great ride by him, but they're bringing this break back quite early, aren't they? 23 seconds with 16k to go. It's going to come back, and they're still going to have 12k possibly to manage this. And there's 1, 2, 3, 6 of them left, probably with Démare on the back there, or maybe further back in the bunch. So they could have their hands full on the last lap here.
Kevin Retzer, by the way, goes very well in this race himself. In 2014, he was 3rd behind Démare and Bouhanni. We're expecting it to be Démare and Bouhanni once again. Well, we'll see. Right now, we've got a breakaway, and they come to the bell, which is being rung in a less than enthusiastic manner.
Well, 248k of counting a lap board down, and then you finally get to ring the bell. You'd expect there to be a little bit more intent in there, wouldn't you?
Well, there we are. It sounds like a fish for sale bell. There it is. And that's going to be going on for quite some time. He's got to ring it across them, and in fact the entire field of 154. I'm not sure how many have stepped off the bike today. You expect it maybe to be quite a few. Démare well protected. Direct Energy still not giving up the ghost, despite the fact that Coquard has been caught behind a split and is way back. We still have Samuel Dumoulin, who may well try and give it a go. AG Tour and Mondial were the ones that put the pace in and caused the split a little while ago. Selwyn Chavanel still not here after the disappointment. Still here, I should say, but one wonders, after the disappointment of not managing to find his time trialing legs again. He has flashes of brilliance still, and the bell rolls on, and it tolls for others further down the line here, and they're coming in, but I'm afraid it looks like job done for them. Pace picked up yet again.
Yeah, nice to see Alex Blaine of Madison Genesis just tucked in at the back there. Again, another rider that's you know, gone over, done it on his own, probably got a little bit of family support, but no other help from the team. Understandably, they're a British team, but good to see him there flying the flag for Madison Genesis in the French National Championships. 14.8 kilometres to go, and the brake's actually gone out to 30 seconds. So FDJ taking their foot off the gas, don't want to bring it back too early.
No, because if they do, if they make the catch, then there will be others that roll off the nose, and they'll have to marshal that gap as well. Meanwhile, out front, head of the course, and a great job being done here by Jesper and Vachon. I'm wondering if anyone's going to be tempted to dig into that gap. You never know. There are the brave, or mainly the
enthusiastic, yeah, optimistic.
Yes, maybe over-optimistic. You must question sanity sometimes after such a tough day as this. It's a long old course, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and we see this with a lot of the national championships. I think the British one was about 178k, but this one's 248 kilometres.
Wow.
Which, you know, that's nudging up there with some of the longest days on the bike you're going to have.
It is. So they've factored in the distance to try and at least wear down the sprinters' legs, I guess. But frankly, when you're bringing 21 teammates, or well, you plus your teammates, for a team of 21, both Direct Energy and Francis Dejeut. 20 from Cofidis looking after Buani, 19 from the Land Army here, 17 from AG2 La Mondiale, 17 from Fortunato Vital Concept as well. You know, should Francis Dejeut find themselves at the front and off the front, I think it's fair to say that Arnaud Démare would be livid if he wasn't allowed to take the tricolour. That's clearly the plan. But you do see teammates starting to duke it out with each other if there's a national jersey up for grabs. It's an unusual thing, almost unique in cycling.
Yeah, that normally happens when you get to a situation where it's highly unlikely that the team's going to not lose out. So if you had, for example, 3 FDJ riders up the road with an unassailable gap, they might be told they could just race for it. But I don't think that's going to happen here.
No.
Just going back, I incorrectly said that the British Champs was about 170k. It was 192 kilometres, a full, 50 kilometres shorter than this race, which is an hour of racing, isn't it? Just over an hour of racing.
Well, we've got let's remind ourselves when we started this race. Local time 10:40 in the morning, so just after 10:30 in the morning. Not expected to finish until about 4:30 local time. That's brutal. That's 6 hours in the bike, and so close to the Tour de France, it makes you question the wisdom of it.
Yeah, well, it does, but it's a national championship, and as we've seen, it's a quality field. You look down the field, we look here, as you say, FDJ, Direct Energy, Cofidis, Army de Terre, AG2 La Mondiale, Fortunato Vital Concept, HB, BTB over 93, 8 riders, Delco Marseille Provence, 8 riders, Roubaix Lille Metropole, 6 riders, and it's only then when we get to Team Novo Nordisk with 3 that we start getting down to really, really small teams.
Here's Buani, and he doesn't want the camera around him. I imagine there's a little bit of pressure this year. Chavanel just drifting through, almost ghost-like, as you can see on the far side for Direct Energy.
I think the response to him on that one would be tough.
Yeah, I think so.
You're in the bike race, you're a professional cyclist, end of.
Centre stage, better do it. Hey, hello. This is a late push. They've decided this is Roubaix Lille Metropole. Julien Antomarchi it is that's going to have a dig, a late solo to try and bridge over to them. Well, that is brave. He's reasonably handy, but frankly it looks like the sprinter. Is this a sulk? I could never read Buani, to be honest, whenever they hove in on him, because he always seems to have something of a sneer about him. He is given to finding excuses on a regular basis, let's put it that way. If he's not in a winning position, quite often I've seen his hands go up, and in fact a lot of finger pointing, and yet he himself is not the how can I put this, he's not the most predictable rider to go up against head to head. He does weave a bit, shoulders do get involved, but he I guess like a one-handed waiter, he can dish it, but he doesn't like taking it away.
It's never his fault, is it? It's always somebody else's fault. And love or hate Mark Cavendish, whatever happens, not whatever happens, but generally, if Cav's successful, he's the first person to say, it was the team, it wasn't me, I was only there for the last 200 metres. And if he's not successful, again, he's the first person to say, the team did a great job, it was my fault, I didn't deliver. And you've got to admire that in a bike rider. Buani, it's just like, well, the team didn't do it, or, another rider got in my way. It was never, do you know what, I just didn't have the legs today. And it just doesn't endear him to fellow riders or the media.
I think so. Yeah, Cav is, if anything, he's just super clever. He's got an amazing sense of recall of every finish he's ever had, and he does dissect it at the line and give you a full, honest view of the failures or indeed successes, and for that we love him. 11.2.
Follow every game, set and match. British
1 kilometres, and look at that. That's a super brave effort by Julien Antomarchi to come and join this group right now. Johan Alfredo, Julian Bernard, Wanty and Trek Zagafredo. Just coming to the fore is our come up as if to boost confidence right now of Nacer Buani. Is it going to be mano a mano? Who else is going to upset the apple cart? Samuel Dumoulin will definitely give it a dig, but that is an unhappy man. That's Brian Coquard at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep, and the Direct Energy rider who's moving on for next year, certainly not looking like a happy camper, is he? And Direct Energy, I mean, Sylvain Chavanel hasn't said he's retiring, but he seems to be going on and on and on. Brian Cockard's leaving the team. Thomas Voeckler has said that he's retiring in July. It's a team, I wouldn't quite say in disarray, but it's one of those teams that's going to have to go, actually, where are we going now? What's the direction?
You know, they've asked that question so often. This morphed out of Europe Car, don't forget, and that was a team that essentially let the stars go and then find the money late on, and they'd already lost some real principal names. So they're used to a rocky road, I think it's fair to say. Likewise, mixed surface doesn't seem to trouble Francis Auger too much. The cobbles await, of course, and those pesky corners, the last of which is only 100 metres from the line. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting lead out, isn't it, if Cofidis and Francis Auger go head-to-head. We've seen Francis Auger doing an awful lot of work, but let's not let Julian Antomarchi put in a great effort here to ride across to this break. They've now only got 15 seconds, so it is sadly just a matter of time until they are brought back in. But great ride there by this break and by Antomarchi there to stay away, and there you can see the full force of Francis Auger still on the front of this main group. Cofidis,
you know,
they're not short of hands, but it's amazing to see that Buani doesn't seem to be concerned about his teammates. He's concerned about Demar. Now, if he doesn't decide to go for his own lead out, and I don't think he trusts it at the moment, then he will latch onto somebody else, hope on somebody else's train, if you like. He wants to go mano a mano. Let's see if that's the case.
Well, you say he doesn't trust them, but look, they're out drag stripping Francis Auger at the moment. Francis Auger have had a very hard day, as we've already said. Cofidis, they don't normally, as we can see Gesbert there from Fortunato Vital Concept coming back to the group. Cofidis don't really, they never really set up a big lead out, do they? You expect them to be leading him out in the second string races and being able to be, you know, competitive there. But we never see them at the Tour setting Buhani up for the big, you know, Greipel, Kittel, Cav-esque lead outs, as we see Francis Auger on the left, and AG2 are just getting involved a little bit in the middle.
They are. I'm just having a look as well to see who else is coming here. Direct Energy slotted in, but Cofidis with a big lead-out train. This is about confidence apart from anything else. Just having a look at Samuel Dumoulin, the pocket rocket, who's over to the right-hand side of the road. In fact, left, I beg your pardon, with Viemos right there as well. And Fortunato, they've got a chance as well here.
Yeah, they're just coming around the outside, a team that have set up big lead-outs in the past for Dan McClay, another rider who didn't really deliver at the Route du Sud last week. Be interesting to see who they set it up for today.
Perrichon, I think it is, that they're going to be looking for. He and Lena Noir, they part of the lead-out train for Dan McClay and will have their own fun today. So they've got a man up front, well, or had two, of course, one remaining with 8.1 to go. In fact, we've shed two out of this group, have we not, as Marchi has come and joined, and now in fact he's doing much of the pushing on, but it's all over. 12 seconds, 8k to go, so we consider our approaches. Retzer just grinding into that gap right now. Francis Auger have not been disinclined to be punished today. They came here with big numbers. They've burnt just about all of them.
Yeah, we've got 8 kilometres to go, and I think there's 5 of them left on the front of the bunch, along with Arnaud Demar. And you can just see at the back here, riders just struggling on this. This is the smaller of the two climbs. 13 seconds up to the front group. And Cyril Lemani from Cofidis just at the back there, riding number 54.
Well, last to join and first to push on. Julian Antomarchi decides to go for it. For Wanty, that's Alfredo that's just trying to stay with him for the time being. The Fortunato boys, it's bye-bye for them. Fortune favours the brave, but not Fortunato Vital Concept today. And here come Francis Auger with Cofidis and AG Tour La Mondiale, the aforementioned, who want to be part of the front group. Rudy Barbier and Samuel Dumoulin still looking as though they've got something left in the legs today. 7.4 to go and 15 seconds right now. Just a little bit of easement. That's only to this lead man. No disrespect to Antomarchi, who's done a very good job of pushing on late. But you can see the incline they've got here. It's a proper drag.
It is, and it kicks up further and further up to the top here. You can see how steep it gets, and it's very, very long as well. So Antomarchi is here pushing on, and we can see the The chasing group just in the background there, the pressure being put on in full on the front by the rest of the Fortunato riders, as their two have dropped out of the group. And we can see there the rider from Trek Segafredo as well, Julian Bernard, going back to the bunch. Brave effort by him.
Well, Fortunato have got Kevin Ladenois as well, and I think they're bringing him up. And this is that big kick right now, and I'm afraid this is going to do for Antomarchi, I believe. Let's see who else is going to start to bridge over here. 11 seconds. And in fact, they're starting to pick it up, and it's AG Tour La Mondiale who want to just try and test out some of the sprinters' teams, but they're remaining solid for now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that Antomarchi was the last rider to get across. The group here charging up this climb. We just saw Thomas Voeckler there sit up and go back down the right-hand side of the road, and here you can see it breaking up at the front. Fortunato really pushing on with one of the Cofidis riders, and FDJ just keeping it together, aren't they? They're not panicking. They know they've got about 6.5k from the very top of this climb to get it back on track for the lead out for Demar.
Good work here by Fortunato. They've been able to hide a little bit, having two men up the road. Can't carry on, I'm afraid. Little bit of a rueful shake of the head. I believe that was Jesper. And look at this. Is that Samuel Dumoulin trying to make it over here? Well, we said he would maybe make a move, but the little guy is up towards the fore now. He knows in an out-and-out sprint, if it gets to the line, he's not going to have what it takes to wrestle with Bouhanni and indeed Arnaud Demar. So I think he may well be deciding to push on and maybe become a baroudeur right now.
Well, you can see that in the background. He has pushed on there. Gap's not really opening up in that group. We've got a front group there of about 20 riders, and the rest will probably get back on this little descent. And Antomarchi there still pushing on, but 6.5k to go. Look at the pace being put on the front here by Dumoulin at the front, and Cofidis just saying, no, this is against my team orders. We want it to come down to a bunch kick.
Psychologically an anchor there with, I'm afraid, just being dragged along. And so will Sam Dam just back out of it? Not exactly. This is Demar, and getting vocal here, saying not too much, not too much. I believe at this moment he's down to the last remaining three teammates in front of him.
Yeah, and it looks like 4 from FDJ. Couple of Cofidis riders straggling at the back. They'll need to get up the front and do the job for Bouhanni. 5k to go, just about.
Yes, indeed. This man's still out there. If any questions start to be asked about work rate, then it may well be a bitter pill that they all have to take at the end here.
Look at, sorry to interrupt you, Carlton, but Demar just moving up the outside there to get on the back of his lead-out train.
Well, Demar is already there. That was one of his teammates just coming up. Demar is just at the back of this quartet. There he is. He's in a comfortable place, but wanted more manpower. He called for it, and he's got it. And there we are. And what about Bouhanni? Well, we'll see. Also depleted on that last climb. They took it at pace, and it had a cost.
Yes, an interesting one. Both teams now only have 3 riders left, plus their principal sprinter. And we've got this chase group here trying desperately to get back on.
Fantastic, 4.6 kilometres to go. Big approach pace right now. There's a few little spots of rain suggesting themselves. I think it's going to hold off and be dry, but quite frankly, they will be blowing up a wind of their own. I'm afraid it's been a bad day for that man who's drawing the attention. That's Brian Cocard, way down, I'm afraid. Doesn't even want the cameras around him. If he could hide that head between his shoulder blades, he most certainly would. And that's about, I'm afraid, damage limitation for him. He's not going to be engaged in the sprint as we push on with 3.8Ks remaining. That's a big old gap, you know.
Yeah, big gap there, and back up to the front. 3.6 kilometres to go. You can just see the breakaway rider Antomarchi there, just dangling off the front of this bunch.
Wow, this is going to be one feisty finish, I can tell you. That was Viamos at the back there for AG Tour La Mondiale. Meanwhile, here we are.
Good effort
that's a secondary group as well. This now will become the front of the race, but all credit to Antomarchi for mixing it up with them. So, shootout time, 3.1 kilometres to go. The cobbles are coming, so that's going to get rough. Late push here, looking from Remy Cavagna, is it? In the blue, he's on his own for quick-step floors, and in fact he does. He was mustering for this, and here he goes. Well, this could be a surprise. It may well start to mix it up amongst these guys, and he's gone for it. He's flown the coop. 2.8 to go.
So Remy Cavanga, quick step, Floors pushing on, being chased by one of the Wanty Group Gobert riders. This is falling into the laps of Francais Jageur and Cofidis. They're not having to do too much work. They've got a carrot out there in front of us. Very fast running back into town now.
I think Wanty was afraid out there, unafraid to dig in and go, but he's backed out of it right now as Cavagna it is that pushes on. He's got, what, 6-7 bike lengths as they head around this, all on the left-hand side, you'll notice, shorter way through that roundabout. Smooth road, best we've had on the course, but it's about to turn into cobbles as we pick up and head towards the cathedral here. 2.3 to go, plenty of turns still to come, last of which, of course, will be with 100 metres to go. And still, as Cavagna gets eaten back up by Francis Jageur here, they're doing a lot of work, and Bouhanni has been gifted, I think, less of a work rate than Francis Jageur, the Cofidis man. And in fact, there is Bouhanni right on the wheel of Damar. He's staring back at him. He's eschewed his teammates out for now.
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? They've had a much easier day than Francais Jageur. They haven't done the riding on the front, had as many riders. They both started with 21 riders. It's now come down to this. Bouhanni is opting for Damar's back wheel. It's really interesting. Damar has the faith in his team. Bouhanni's got the teammates up here, but opting to go with Damar.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to try and stare him down, and Fortunato are getting involved again. In fact, they're going to have a couple up towards the pointy end here. Leo Dennis and Perichon as Francis Jageur pick it up, and Bouhanni's decided to go with this. Oh, they're side by side at the moment. This is going to be Bouhanni versus Damar, as if it could be anything else. Oh, getting out of shape on some of the elevated sections here. Onto the cobbles we come, and they're grinding into this one. Still, Damar has not decided to go for it just for the time being. 1,100 metres remaining. Flamme Rouge coming.
Still got two riders in front of him, just coming over these cobbles for the last time. The riders won't be sorry to see the end of those, but there we can see Damar in third place. We've got Bouhanni right behind him.
Well, storm clouds are gathering, as you can see, but right now kicking up everything into everybody else's faces seems to be Francis Jageur. There's the Flamme Rouge right now. P3 is Damar. Just behind him is, of course, Bouhanni, who has not used his teammates on this approach. He'd rather just keep a clear view of the man he wants to beat. He's been before in a situation such as this. Likewise, Damar has given it to Bouhanni, dished it out, I should say, and here we go. Faster pace coming up, last turn to come.
Big fight for the last corner with only 100 metres to go once they go round it. This isn't it, but a nasty right-hand turn coming up.
There it is, an absolute grisly one right now. Still haven't decided to launch it. We'll get the heads-up shot for you in just a few moments' time. And here we go. Gas is what's required out here, and quite frankly, the last of the turns is still to come. That's only the 500 marker. Well, there is Bouhanni is on the back of Damar right now, and in fact, there it is. That was further back down the course. So now they open up. Who's going to go for it? And Damar decides finally he's going to go for a release. Oh, and it's Bouhanni who's on his case. Mano a mano. It couldn't be anything else. Bouhanni comes up, tries to take the centre of the road. Oh, he complains about being hampered, but he was not. Damar crosses the line, nearly loses the bars of his bike under the effort, but he had the effort, he had the team, and he's got the result. Arnaud Damar is our champion, and he's beaten his nemesis, Bouhanni, to take it.
What a great finish there. Arnaud Damar's team literally rode on the front all day long and really set him up at the finish. Bouhanni on his back wheel complained and complained and complained that Damar had switched him over the road. But let's be honest, he had a 20-foot, 25-foot wide road. He could have gone whichever side he wanted towards the end.
Yeah. Planted centre of the road, Arnaud Damar, and just thanking Michael Delage there, one of the final lead-out men for him. Job well done, mission accomplished for Francis Jageur, and indeed for Arnaud Damar, who's cock-a-hoop at the moment. All the results seem to be coming his way, and he's the principal French sprinter going to the Tour de France.
And here we go. We got the slow-mo finish coming up. Damar, yes, he knows where Bouhanni is. Yes, he's just nudging over to the middle of the road. But Bouhanni, let's be fair. I mean, he wasn't getting anywhere near Damar there, and could have gone across the other side of the road quite easily. And I'm afraid, Carlton, it just goes back to what we were saying. Bouhanni, he's the rider that doesn't quite get there more often than not, and he's the rider that always looks for other excuses.
Well, in 2012, Bouhanni beat Damar. In 2014, St-omer beat Bouhanni, and in fact battle royal yet again. Let's have a look at it. He comes out into the wind, and frankly he's got nothing left. Maybe he should have used his team a bit more just to keep him out of the wind. There's no complaint there, as far as I'm concerned, that is worthy of hitting a target.
No, I mean, he was going backwards, wasn't he? It wasn't like he was up on St-omer's bottom bracket and St-omer was pushing him across the other side of the road into the barrier. He was barely level with his back wheel. If anything, he was behind him. 2
seconds in the rear, Lavant and Pierre-Luc Perichon. Saint-Charles, Ladenois, brave effort by them. Barbier, Samuel Dumoulin, he rolled the dice, didn't he? Just not his game today. Alfredo Antuze, but St-omer is the French champion and will ride the Tour wearing the tricolour. Fantastic. Don't forget the Tour de France Unrivaled coverage here on Eurosport from